This is Payload Descent version A4A. We just played it on the European server. These are just some general thoughts that I have about the map. It seemed very blue-sided. Red didn't seem like they were able to set up a defense anywhere on the map. It also seems like your areas aren't properly lit either. I guess a really good example of this is right away in kind of spawn. Can't really tell what team I'm on. It doesn't really matter that much because it's in spawn, but like areas like this, I don't even know what this room is for, but it's way too dark. Yeah, I don't know much about that room. I guess I'm going to start at last and kind of work my way back. This area is definitely way too dark. Like any sort of glare on your screen, and like I can't see in this corner at all. Like I can't even see that. I can't see anything. I didn't even know there was a stairwell here. Aside from lighting issues, you kind of don't really give engineers anywheres like to set up or your team to kind of hold. Like if I place a sentry right here, I can easily get effortlessly taken out by a sniper or the other team. There's no like really good cubbies for engineer to set up. Like even if I set up down here where there is some kind of cover, everyone has high ground on me, so it doesn't really make for a great time. It's over here. Yeah, see, there's a flank over here. So if I set up down here, now I have to worry about this flank over here while being outranged at the same time. So I feel that your areas are kind of overscaled. Just a little, not a lot, but enough to kind of like make a difference. Like, I think the height of this prop is probably a good height to have for your like balcony up here. You know, you already have it too high. Personally, I also wouldn't use this style texture for your walls. I would use... I don't think you're using it at all on this map, but there's another dev texture. This one. I would use this style texture instead, just because it's easier to sort of kind of get a sense of scaling, at least in my opinion, on your walls really quickly. Because each one of those squares is 128 units, so you can quickly glance at a wall and say, oh, that's 256 units tall, which I don't know how tall this is, but I don't think it's 256. No, it's not. I would make it 128, maybe, you know. I think this area is interesting over here enough for, like, spies. It gives them a space to kind of decloak and figure out what they're going to do. Really, it might make sense to kind of cut out like a chunk and kind of move everything up that way. I really don't have a lot of ideas for this point because I can't defend on it as any class really. I'm getting outranged and outflanked too quickly, too powerfully. So I guess we'll move on to the next area. Your lighting isn't great again. You kind of need to figure out more or less with your light spots how you can get better cone effects. It doesn't really matter in alpha, but if you can secure good lighting in early alpha, that's going to save you a lot of headache later, and it also just makes it better to play on. So if you set your outer cone to something like 50 and then your inner cone to like 45, that makes this whole area a lot brighter. Or you can just throw up little ghost lights and stuff. That's because you're just having a light right below it or in a different position to just kind of just help illuminate the area. So that was last. This is going to be C. I did not see this defended at all. I did see we tried to put a sentry up here, but again, you have a drop down right above us, and giving blue high ground is important, but red is immediately overpowered. They have no chance on this point. It's not even really worth it, in our opinion, to defend it. It's basically just dead space. So I don't really know what your intention is with this point, but I wouldn't have a drop down like that. I kind of always want to emphasize with payload, it's kind of like you want to have your points kind of meet in a general area, almost. So like you have your main route, and then you have your flanks coming into the side area over here, and then maybe like a flank that comes out down there. So yeah, I don't like this upper route really that much. I think it's too powerful for blue. What's over here? Right, there's a gate here, so that doesn't matter that much. I think this map is going to be kind of like a stepping stone for you in terms of kind of figuring out how design works in this game. Just getting scaling right. I don't know how many maps you've made. I haven't really looked that much, but yeah, that's my general thoughts on C. It's not really defendable. Like, yeah, you give engineers a little cubby down here, sure, but what good does this do? I'm below the payload point, and I can easily just get swamped by blue team all at once. Like, that's not great. I also didn't. Is that playable space? I don't know. That's not clearly indicated that that's playable space. So I just wouldn't have that if it is. I don't like the pit, mainly for the reason of, well, you're gonna punish me for playing the objective. Like, that's. I understand that it might be there to make it so red has an easier time on this point, but having a death pit to make it easier for a team to defend a point doesn't really mean that that's a good point. That it's kind of like almost bad. It's almost like you want your death pits off to the side, kind of on a flank, kind of like a high risk, high reward scenario. You see that on what's a map that has a death pit? I guess Upward is a good example of a death pit. You take that side flank coming out of A, going to B, and you know, there's health kits, there's ammo and all that kind of stuff on that side route, and it gives you an upper angle on red team over there. So it's a high risk because you have the risk of being air blasted into a pit, or you know, or you don't, and then like kind of just rambling here, or you get an upper edge. So like figure that out with your death pit or this area. Like maybe have like a cave off to the side that has some kind of death pit or something that has like a medium health kit or something. You know, kind of make the flanks into this room better, but make it so red actually has a chance to defend, because right now they have nothing. That's enough for C. I like this little lower area. I kind of like the feeling of it. I think it's cool. I like the sort of gate effect. I think that's a neat little effect. Not so sure what you're trying to do with the water here, but it's there. Lighting, not the greatest. Doors, I have no idea if there are doors here. There are. Interesting. I'll just skip out of there for now. Some people had some strong comments about this particular area just because you immediately give blue a high ground, which isn't bad. It's been done on maps before. But with payload, you kind of want to make it so red is always kind of a little higher than blue. Not all the time. You know, there are cases where that's not necessarily true. You look at bad water coming out of, what point is that? B. Blue is technically a little higher than red in some cases, but for the most part, red usually has the higher ground because, well, they're defending. The trick is you want to give blue team good enough flanks where they can flank those high grounds, but not too good that red has no chance of defending. And I think with this point, you have basically made it so red has no chance at defending this point. I like seeing this Kirby style. It's been done on another community map. What is that? What's that map name? It's not a great map, but it's old, but I kind of always like the feeling of it. Oh god, what is that map name? I cannot remember for the life of me. It's an Alpine. It's got like chainsaws and stuff everywhere. Anyways, whatever. I don't think this works too well in your case because you don't really give red anywhere to set up. It's basically another free point. You know, yeah, I could set up here, but like, look at what I'm faced against. Not a lot of good options. You know, I could put a sentry up if I can even get up there. And that's the other thing, is a lot of your clippings are kind of weird. You want to make it a smooth experience for a player to kind of just come up. If you want them to set up quickly, effortlessly, just get up here. Like, I just had to do 2 jumps in that wasted time. And even then, the sentry spot is not good for me. Because I can get outflanked from up there, I can get outranged from over there. Over there, it's just not great. It's a start, for sure. Yeah, you could defend over here, but what's the point? You're just going to get outranged and outgunned. So this is B point. Where can I set up? Can I set up here? I guess I could set up here, but it would be better off if I could set up here. But then I'm getting outranged instantly, so like... Giving engineers a spot to set up isn't a bad thing, you know? Like, yeah, this would be the only viable spot for me to set up, and even then, it's still going to be easy to outrange me and outflank me. Because literally, blue team just, boop, there you go, sentry's down. She might almost just drop this entire flank and redo this whole inner corner. Maybe. This courtyard area. Not a fan of this upper spawn exit. I understand why it's there, because it makes it so blue has an advantage or a way to actually reach this cart. But, it almost feels like the cart would be better off starting down here, you know, and maybe having it so red has a different structure over here, or maybe it's more outdoor space, because right now you have a lot of kind of indoor spaces, so it might be nice to kind of make this like some sort of outdoor terrain or something, and then have the spawn door maybe lower down or come out on that upper portion, or a cliff of some sort. I don't know. I would move the cart kind of down here so it's closer to blue spawn, because we were playing this one round, and blue team had to use like 2 or 3 Ubers to even advance on this upper area, so I don't think it's that great, in my personal opinion. And you can take any feedback I give with any grain of salt you want. I don't care how you take this. These are just my thoughts. You know, so you can disregard it or not. I'm not your mother. I don't care. So yeah, I guess we'll go back from blue spawn now. See if I miss anything. Lighting, not great. Definitely need to make your areas more bright. Don't do this kind of stuff. Like, yeah, you probably clip. No, you didn't clip it, because I can get stuck right there. And there. Don't do this. Just, you're better off just having stairs. It's an easier experience. It's smoother. Like, you don't even have to use these kinds of props either. You can just make them out of brushes and then funk detail them. And funk, what's the other one that I had to do on the sides? Either way, just funk detail some stairs here. Make it look nicer. You know. Yeah. Alright, I guess I'll go over here. Yeah, see, I can already outrange a sentry if it's right there, so. Hey, come around and outrange it again, so, yeah. Yeah, I'm not really sure what to do with B. I'm not really sure how you'd solve this. And this route. That route just needs to go, I think. That route just needs to go. I like the rocket at last. That's pretty cool. Cool design. I do think your last is a little overscaled, and some parts of your map just feel kind of weird in terms of scaling. This balcony, yeah, it works, but the only person who's going to sit up here is snipers. You know? Like, no engineer in their right mind is going to set up there. I mean, they might. Tifted's pretty unhinged. I mean, you could sit up here, but I don't know. That's my general thoughts. I hope you kind of work on this still. Don't get too discouraged.